The anime introduces Hashiba Kyoya, a 28-year-old game developer who works at a game development company. However, his world comes crashing down when the company falls into bankruptcy, burdened by an enormous amount of debt. As a result, Kyoya is laid off from his job. Despite his efforts to find a new job, Kyoya continues to face rejection from various companies. One night, after returning home from a job application, he spots a woman perched on the edge of a bridge, lost in thought. Fearing that she intends to take her own life, Kyoya rushes over to restrain her. However, it turns out that his assumption was incorrect. The woman had no intention of harming herself. Kyoya and the woman decided to grab a bite at a nearby restaurant. Kyoya apologized for jumping to conclusions earlier, but the woman, Kawasegawa Eiko, didn't hold it against him. Eiko explained her frustration at being unable to find a replacement for an employee who resigned from her company, and who was responsible for editing and visual arrangements for a crucial project. Upon hearing this, Kyoya didn't hesitate to offer his services, assuring Eiko that he could fill the vacancy in her team. To sum it up, Eiko gladly accepted Kyoya's offer, and he began working at Succeedsoft, which turned out to be a well-known company renowned for its visual art expertise. Eiko informed Kyoya that he would be joining her team, and on his first day, he surpassed her expectations, impressing her with his exceptional work ethic. Eiko even complimented Kyoya for his work, which was precisely what she was looking for. Interestingly, Succeedsoft was home to the best visual team in Japan, known as the Platinum Gene, consisting of 3 highly skilled individuals named Kawagawa Kyoichi, Nana, and Akashima Shino. As time passed, Kyoya kept up his diligent and professional work style, collaborating seamlessly with his coworkers and handling individual tasks with equal ease. His division colleagues couldn't be more satisfied with his presence, as Kyoya's broad knowledge and expertise in their line of work proved immensely helpful for everyone involved. Unfortunately, Kyoya's job satisfaction at Succeedsoft didn't last long. One day, Eiko called for a meeting with the division, including Kyoya, and informed them that their current project had been halted by the higher-ups. This unfortunate development also meant that Kyoya would be losing his job, as his educational background was in economics, not visual arts, and Eiko had no solid justification to keep him employed. Kyoya returned home, feeling dejected, and lay on his bed, lost in thought. He couldn't help but regret his past decision of choosing to major in economics, which ultimately led to the loss of his job. Kyoya had always been passionate about visual arts, and his current predicament left him feeling frustrated and defeated. As he lay there, he began to wish for a chance to turn back time and rectify his choices. As Kyoya lay in bed ruminating over his past, he fell asleep. Suddenly, he was woken up by his younger sister, Miyoko, but something was off. His surroundings had changed. To his surprise, Miyoko was still in her junior high school uniform, despite having graduated. Kyoya quickly realized that he had somehow traveled back in time to the year 2006, just before he was due to enter university. With this realization, he made up his mind to make different choices this time around and decided to pursue a visual arts major at Onaka Institute, determined not to repeat his past mistakes. After being accepted into Onaka Institute's visual arts department, Kyoya decided to live independently in a shared rental house close to campus. Upon arrival, he found the place deserted and decided to start unpacking before calling it a night. Kyoya was taken aback when he opened his eyes and found a woman sleeping in the same room. She introduced herself as Shino Aki, his new housemate. As they ventured to the living room, Kyoya met his other housemates, Kogure Nanako and Rokwanji Tsuruyuki, who were also fresh students at the Onaka Institute, with the same major as Kyoya, visual arts. The following day, Kyoya and his housemate headed to the university for their department's orientation activities. While there, Kyoya had an unexpected encounter with Eiko, who would be his division leader at Succeed Company in the future. However, at the time, Eiko did not recognize Kyoya. In short, Kyoya began his college life and noticed the stark difference in study habits between his serious classmate, Eiko, and his laid-back housemate. Meanwhile, Tsuruyuki struggled to stay awake in class, prompting the lecturer to ask him a question. To everyone's surprise, Tsuruyuki answered the question accurately and precisely. After the lecture, Kyoya began to feel discouraged about his ability to succeed in the visual arts department, given his talented peers. Later in the day, Kyoya and Aki attended the new student welcome party. But as it got late, Aki fell asleep with her head on Kyoya's shoulder. Not wanting to wake her, Kyoya decided to carry her back to their rental house. Along the way, Aki unexpectedly woke up and praised Kyoya for his attentiveness to others, including herself. Additionally, she offered words of encouragement to lift Kyoya's spirits after she noticed his sadness earlier that day. Upon arriving at their rental house, Kyoya intended to return Aki's forgotten bag to her room. However, he was shocked to find that her door was slightly ajar, revealing a room with the same artwork that Akashima Shino, a member of the Platinum Gene that succeeds Soft in the future, had created. This piece of artwork was Kyoya's all-time favorite, and he was amazed to see that it had been made by the same person he knew as Aki. As time passed, Kyoya continued to navigate his college experience alongside his friends. One day, their lecturer assigned a group project to create a 3-minute film, with each group consisting of 4 people. Kyoya and his roommate quickly formed a team in response. Kyoya and his roommate were still struggling to decide on a concept for their group film assignment. Later that day, Kyoya went to work part-time in order to earn some extra cash. To his surprise, he ran into Nanako, who also happened to be working at the same place. After finishing work and returning to his rental house, Kyoya was struck with an idea for a movie set in a train station, having passed by one on his way home. He reasoned that a public place like a train station would make it easier for the audience to connect with the film. Luckily, Kyoya's housemate agreed with his concept, and Tsurayuki was quick to volunteer to write the script. However, Tsurayuki was surprised to find that Kyoya's idea was similar to the one he had already been working on. Despite this, Tsurayuki didn't accuse Kyoya of stealing his idea. Instead, he felt that they could collaborate to create something great together. In short, Kyoya and his housemate met at a restaurant to discuss their movie plans. However, Tsurayuki's script turned out to be too long for a 3-minute movie, and Kyoya asked him to revise it. Tsurayuki refused, insisting that it was the best script he had written. Kyoya tried to explain that their grades were on the line with this project, but Tsurayuki became upset and left the restaurant abruptly. As Kyoya, Nanako, and Aki made their way home, they stumbled upon their senior, Kiryu Takashi, lying on the ground. Concerned, Kyoya and his friends helped him back to his place, but it soon became clear that it was all a ploy to lure them into joining Kiryu's club. While Aki and Nanako were intrigued by the idea, Kyoya was not interested and chose not to answer Kiryu's offer right away. The following day, Kyoya submitted his group's movie theme to their lecturer, Ms. Kano Misaki. Concerned about Kyoya's apprehension, Ms. Misaki asked how he was feeling. Kyoya expressed his worries about the script, feeling it wasn't up to par. However, Ms. Misaki reassured him, explaining that a good script doesn't necessarily equate to a good movie and vice versa. She emphasized that a successful film relies on the teamwork and collaboration of the group behind it. Ms. Misaki's words resonated with Kyoya, and he realized his mistake. He hurried back to the rental house and promptly apologized to Tsurayuki, reassuring him that his script was fine and didn't need any revisions. After much hard work and dedication, Kyoya and his home-mate finally finished producing their movie. The film was set to be shown in front of other students, but during the production process, they encountered a problem. The camera borrowed by Tsurayuki couldn't be used to record, causing panic amongst the group. However, Kyoya was determined not to give up and contacted Kiryu for assistance. In exchange for Kiryu teaching him a good filming technique, Kyoya agreed to join his club. Kiryu was pleased to assist Kyoya with his camera issue, guiding him over the phone to take good photos that could be edited into a video. They successfully created a memorable and moving movie that even earned praise from their classmate Hikawa Genkiro and landed them in 3rd place. This impressive achievement earned Kyoya respect and admiration from his home mates Nanako, Aki, and Tsurayuki, who were all impressed with his hard work. Nanako and Kyoya went to a karaoke place after Nanako finished her part-time job. Kyoya was surprised by Nanako's beautiful voice. On their way home, Kyoya got an idea to upload a video of Nanako singing on the internet to boost her confidence and see how people would react. At first, Nanako was hesitant and embarrassed, but Kyoya encouraged her to give it a try, and finally, Nanako agreed to upload the video. Some time later, Kyoya found himself alone with Aki by the river. Aki surprised him by revealing that she knew he had seen her drawing in her room. Even more unexpectedly, Aki shared that she had decided to stop drawing, despite having won multiple awards for her art. Concerned for his friend, Kyoya attempted to dissuade her from giving up her talent. He expressed his admiration for her work, and his genuine encouragement had the desired effect of reigniting Aki's passion for drawing. In his 2nd semester at university, Kyoya and his housemates received a film project assignment. However, this time, their group included Eiko and Genkiro. Keen to avoid repeating past mistakes, Kyoya and his team sought a solution and decided to borrow a camera from their senior, Tomioka Keiko. Kyoya's team produced another exceptional and unforgettable movie. Despite their victory, Nanako felt guilty about her acting and believed it was inferior compared to other teams with more natural actors. In celebration of their win, the group went to a karaoke bar, and Nanako surprised her friends with her improved singing voice. However, Eiko mocked Nanako for not recognizing her singing talent earlier and insisting on acting. Nanako, upset by Eiko's ridicule, stormed out of the karaoke bar. The following day, Eiko approached Kyoya and confessed her regret over mocking Nanako's acting abilities. Kyoya explained to Eiko that Nanako needed to hear the truth to help her grow as an actress. Returning home, Kyoya found Nanako still feeling dejected. Determined to lift her spirits, Kyoya came up with an idea to boost her confidence. He edited Nanako's singing and presented it to her, causing her to realize her singing abilities were exceptional. Overjoyed, Nanako started practicing harder to develop her skills. The Onaka Institute was hosting a festival, and Kyoya and his housemates decided to participate by setting up a maid cafe. At the end of the first day, Aki and Nanako appeared exhausted, but Kyoya offered them words of encouragement. As the festival drew to a close, the organizers planned to hold a music concert. However, things went awry when a scheduled performer failed to show up, causing confusion and disappointment. Thinking on his feet, Kyoya recommended that the festival committee appoint Nanako as a replacement. Having practiced relentlessly, she was well prepared for the opportunity. Despite feeling embarrassed, Nanako initially refused Kyoya's suggestion that she take the stage. However, Kyoya then showed her a video of her singing that had gone viral on the internet, and Nanako finally found the courage to perform. Afterward, Kyoya discovered that Nanako was actually Nana, a member of a successful music group in the future. This newfound knowledge only strengthened his resolve to support her in her musical pursuits. With Nanako's beautiful voice, the Onaka Institute Festival came to a triumphant close. Later that evening, Kyoya found himself with Aki, and to his surprise, she kissed him. But Aki implored Kyoya to keep their intimate moment a secret. As days passed, Kyoya carried on with his studies as usual, but he noticed that Tsurayuki had been frequently absent from their classes. He grew concerned about his friend's well-being and decided to speak to him about it. One day, when they finally crossed paths, Kyoya was shocked to see Tsurayuki collapse due to exhaustion. It was then that Kyoya realized that his friend's absence from classes was due to his deteriorating health. After the incident where Tsurayuki collapsed, Kyoya grew more curious about his friend's situation. He discovered that Tsurayuki had been overworking himself, which led to his exhaustion. Kyoya was curious about why Tsurayuki was reluctant to attend college, so he inquired about it. Finally, Tsurayuki confided in Kyoya and revealed that he had run away from home because his parents had forced him to study medicine. This caused him to have to work to support himself financially, as his parents refused to pay for his current studies. Kyoya was sympathetic to Tsurayuki's struggles and offered his support to help him through his difficult situation. The following day, Kyoya gathered with his roommates in the living room to discuss his plan to assist Tsurayuki. He proposed the idea of creating a school life-themed novel genre game and selling it at a gaming event. Kyoya explained that he chose the novel genre because it was a feasible option that could be produced by inexperienced students like themselves. Kyoya then proceeded to delegate tasks, assigning Nanako to create the game's music, Aki to handle character illustrations, and Tsurayuki to write the script. Kyoya mentioned that the game would feature some adult elements, surprising Tsurayuki, who expressed concern about not having experience in that area. Kyoya, however, reassured Tsurayuki that he need not worry, as anyone could contribute to making the game, regardless of their experience level. The following day, Kyoya met with Ms. Misaki and Keiko to request their assistance. He knew that the two had worked together previously to create a game and believed that they could contribute valuable insights to their current project. As time passed, Kyoya and his roommates worked tirelessly on the game while juggling their academic responsibilities. The grueling schedule took a toll on them, and they became visibly exhausted, even causing them to lose focus during lectures. Observing their fatigue, Eiko inquired about the situation, and Kyoya shared the reason behind their exhaustion. To Kyoya's surprise, Eiko offered to join and assist them in their game development project. The next day, Kyoya and his home-mates were in the living room when Aki mentioned seeing a striking girl on campus. Kyoya chimed in, mentioning that he had seen her as well when he was with Keiko. Tsurayuki, who overheard the conversation, looked panicked and immediately started packing to leave the rental house. As they were talking about the girl, there was a knock at the door, and they were surprised to find Jishoji Sayuri, Tsurayuki's fiancé. Sayuri confessed that she was engaged to Tsurayuki and was the daughter of a wealthy man. Kyoya, Aki, and Nanako were taken aback by this news. Sayuri began visiting Tsurayuki regularly, bringing lots of food to share. Over time, Kyoya became a reliable mentor for his home-mates whenever they encountered obstacles while creating games. When Tsurayuki faced difficulty developing the game's storyline, he offered valuable advice. Similarly, When Nanako found herself confused about the game's sound effects and Aki ran out of ideas for designing game characters, Kyoya came to their aid. Despite the challenges, Kyoya and his home-mates worked tirelessly on the game, right up to the new year. As the new year began, the four of them gathered together and prayed that their game would be successful. With Sayuri's presence at the rental house, Kyoya became aware of Aki and Nanako's romantic feelings towards him. Feeling unsure of what to do, he confided in Eiko, who advised him to continue behaving as usual to prevent any disruption to their game project. Despite the unexpected romantic developments, Kyoya and his team pushed through, working tirelessly on their game until the arrival of the new year. They shared a prayer, hoping for the success of their game. As the release date for their game drew near, Kyoya and his team realized that they still had a lot of work to do. They were struggling to complete their project on time. However, Kyoya came up with a new plan to ensure that they met their deadline. Although there was some initial disagreement among the team members, they eventually agreed to Kyoya's proposal. On the day before the game's release, the team was working tirelessly to fix the remaining problems. Kyoya and his colleagues were so busy that they barely had time to rest. Despite the exhaustion, they persisted until the game was finally complete. In the end, they were all relieved and proud of their hard work, even though they looked visibly tired. The following day, Kyoya and Keiko attended a gaming event to showcase and sell their newly released game. To their surprise, the game was well received by the attendees, resulting in a significant profit for the team. After a successful day, Kyoya returned to their rental house and shared the earnings with his friends, all of whom had worked tirelessly to make the game a success. The team was ecstatic over the positive response to their game and the financial reward that came with it. Some time had passed, and Kyoya was seen in the company of Tsurayuki. Unexpectedly, Tsurayuki announced that he had decided to drop out of college, which took Kyoya by surprise. Tsurayuki then confided in Kyoya that he had once been very confident in his ability to become a great writer, but meeting Kyoya had made him realize that he was nothing without Kyoya by his side. Tsurayuki even had a pen name in mind, Kawagawa Kyoichi, if he ever succeeded in his writing career. Kyoya was devastated by the realization that he had caused one of the most promising members of Succeed Soft, and the future's greatest writer, to disappear. As he wept in the rain, everything suddenly went dark. When Kyoya regained consciousness, he found himself in a room, and a little girl was calling him daddy. To his surprise, Kyoya had time-traveled 2018 into the future. Even more shockingly, he was now married to Aki and had a daughter named Hashiba Maki. Kyoya was bewildered by his new reality and struggled to come to terms with what had happened. Initially, Kyoya felt uncomfortable sleeping with Aki every night, but as time passed, he grew accustomed to his new life. He discovered that he was now working at a company called Attraction Point, which specialized in developing online games. Over time, Kyoya also learned that Eiko was working at the same company. One day, Eiko approached Kyoya for help in convincing one of her best illustrators, Minori Ayaka, to return to work. Ayaka had suddenly quit, and Eiko needed her talent back on the team. Kyoya was happy to help, and accompanied by one of Eiko's team members, Morishita Miki, he visited Ayaka at her home. During their conversation, Ayaka explained to Kyoya that she had quit because she was unsure about what she wanted to draw. Kyoya noticed that Ayaka's recent artwork was very different from her usual style, but he found it to be excellent and praised her for it. Kyoya's words of encouragement had an unexpected effect on Ayaka, who became very happy and promised to do her best. When Kyoya and Miki reported Ayaka's new drawing to their boss, he was not impressed and demanded that Ayaka stick to her usual style. Kyoya invited Aki to participate in an illustration competition that evening, but was surprised when Aki told him she had stopped drawing a long time ago. The next day, Kyoya was shocked to find out that Nanako and Tsurayuki had also given up on their dreams, just like Aki. This meant that the three of them would never become Platinum Genes and Succeed Soft in the future. Kyoya was devastated and frustrated, realizing that his actions had inadvertently erased his friends' bright futures. Unable to contain his emotions, Kyoya broke down and cried on Aki's lap like a child, apologizing for what he had done. After Kyoya had been back in the future for a month, he had adjusted to his job as the head of Team B while Eiko led Team A. However, he noticed that Eiko's team was struggling to finish their game as the release date approached. Kyoya decided to help out by reviewing the drawings Ayaka had made. Unfortunately, Ayaka was still struggling with coming up with ideas for her illustrations. Kyoya realized he couldn't force her and left for home. As the game's release date drew closer, Eiko's team was still far from finishing the project. Concerned, Kyoya approached his boss to ask for a postponement, but his request was denied. Kyoya's boss told him to focus on his own work and not interfere with other teams' projects. Kyoya was disappointed but knew that he had to find another way to help Eiko's team. After much anticipation, Eiko's team finally released their game, but it was riddled with bugs and other issues that left players disappointed. The company suffered a major financial loss due to a fatal flaw in the game, which had a negative impact on everyone involved. Kyoya was aware of Nanako's journey into the world of music, but he hesitated to get involved. He was afraid that his actions might lead to unwanted changes, just like the Platinum Gene incident. However, his curiosity got the better of him, and he stumbled upon Nanako's latest video. In it, she expressed her immense gratitude to someone who had supported and encouraged her in her pursuit of music. Nanako credited this person with her success and promised to keep singing, no matter what. This realization made Kyoya feel like he needed to step up and become a part of Nanako's journey. He decided to reach out and offer his support to help her reach greater heights in the music industry. Nanako's inspiring words had a profound impact on Kyoya, and he felt reinvigorated with a renewed sense of purpose. He realized that he had been neglecting his responsibilities towards Eiko's game project and decided to take immediate action. Kyoya approached his boss and proposed a solution to the problems that had been plaguing the game. He suggested that they take a 2-week break to completely revamp the game's systems from scratch. To Kyoya's delight, his boss agreed to his proposal, and they set out to make the necessary changes to improve the game's overall experience. With a newfound motivation and determination, Kyoya was determined to see the project through to completion and make it the best it could be. Kyoya's next course of action was to address the compensation issue for the players. He proposed a compensation fee of 10 times the usual amount, hoping to show the players that the company was genuinely invested in improving their gaming experience. However, Kyoya's efforts were met with disapproval from his boss, who was angry at the prospect of such a high payout, fearing that it would result in significant losses for the company. Undeterred, Kyoya made a compelling case for his proposal, explaining to his boss that the improved gaming experience would lead to greater engagement from the players, ultimately resulting in increased profits for the company. After a series of persuasive arguments, Kyoya's boss finally relented and agreed to implement Kyoya's compensation plan. Kyoya's perseverance paid off, and he felt a great sense of satisfaction knowing that his efforts would lead to a better outcome for both the players and the company. After successfully persuading his boss to shut down the game's server and implement the compensation plan, Kyoya was back in the game development team, leading the charge to improve the game. The following day, he visited Ayaka and presented her with an object that he claimed would lift her spirits. It turned out to be a game poster that he had created with his college friends. Ayaka was taken aback by Kyoya's thoughtful gesture, especially when he revealed that he knew about her initial motivation for drawing. He explained that he recognized the same passion in her drawings that reminded him of someone he knew in the past. Kyoya's words struck a chord with Ayaka, and she was moved by his attention to detail and the effort he had put into understanding her. As Ayaka's excitement for drawing was rekindled, Kyoya felt a great sense of satisfaction knowing that he had made a positive impact on her life. After 2 weeks of hard work, Kyoya and Eiko's team succeeded in significantly improving the game. With Ayaka's help, the game's character illustrations became even more appealing, and the game was highly praised by players. However, Kyoya received some unexpected news that Eiko was leaving for Okinawa. Without hesitation, he rushed to the airport. During the trip to the airport, Kyoya was racked with guilt and regret for his actions that might have caused Eiko to leave. However, it turned out that he had misunderstood Eiko's intentions, as she was only going on vacation. Despite this realization, Kyoya continued to apologize to Eiko for his previous interference in her life. He felt deeply sorry for his actions and wished he could turn back time to make things right. However, Eiko surprised him by denying everything he said and instead praising him as an extraordinary person. Eiko's kind words helped to ease Kyoya's anxieties and doubts, and he felt a newfound sense of confidence and self-worth. In the end, Eiko leaving for her vacation, and Kyoya watching her plane fly away. Suddenly, he is met by Keiko, who seems to have appeared out of nowhere. To his surprise, Keiko reveals that she knows Kyoya's desire to go back in time, and that she is the reason he is able to move through time. She tells him that his current life is far happier than his previous one, with a loving family and a successful career. Kyoya reflects on this, feeling grateful for the life he has now and no longer wishing to change the past. Kyoya denied that his current life was happy and expressed that he desired to go back in time, not for his own happiness, but to experience life's hardships with his friends, to feel despair, disappointment, and failure, then to rise again together towards happiness. Keiko smiled at his answer and offered him the opportunity to go back in time. Kyoya decided to visit his family before Keiko sent him back in time. When he arrived, he found Aki trying to draw him back. Aki explained that she wanted to restart her career as an illustrator from the beginning. Upon hearing this, Kyoya hugged Aki and promised to always support her. As Kyoya promised not to forget the moment he hugged his family, he met Keiko and went back in time. He found himself in the rental house where Nanako and Aki were still young, but Tsurayuki was not there. Kyoya realized that he had returned to the time when Tsurayuki decided to take a leave of absence from college. Kyoya is determined to change his fate and restart his journey in the past for the third time. In his latest attempt, he endeavors to make Aki and Nanako more independent and less reliant on him. Along the way, Kyoya meets Ayaka, who happens to attend the same college as him. The moral lesson of the anime is to avoid interfering too often in other people's problems.